Right guys, I'm out on the Hayabusa and having a bit of a road test on my way home from work. I've fitted the timing retard eliminator. I've just fitted a cheapo job I found on eBay. There seems to be not really a massive amount of choice of ones out there for the Hayabusa. I can't remember how much this one was, but it was cheap in comparison to some. I think around 30 or 40 pounds. And yeah, I've fitted it. I've rode to work this morning, didn't really have a time for kind of putting a video together this morning, but I'm going to have a slightly longer ride home just because that's what the traffic is kind of telling me to take, because it's busy. So yeah, right, let's get down to it. First impressions of fitting this kind of de-restrictor, I guess, isn't it? It's de-restricting, it's taking off all those factory restrictions. So on the Hayabusa, this one's a 2008, they restrict the first 4 gears, and then by the time you get into 5th gear you've got full power. Now by fitting one of these TRE boxes, they're super simple to fit. Yeah, basically it takes away that restriction, which basically the restriction acts in such a way that it retards the timing, so it turns the timing off a bit, so the bike's really not performing quite as well in the first 4 gears and produces less power. Now one of the knock-on effects of that is that I guess the bike, I think from the ride-in this morning, I think previously it was popping in, doing a few more pops and bangs before I fitted the TRE, and now I've got it fitted, it seems to be running smoother, which I guess for the timing to be kind of better in effect with it fitted, that would be one of the factors that has kind of come into play. So yeah, I can notice that the bike seems to be smoother, definitely smoother. So yeah, that is one thing I've noticed. Another thing I've noticed is I think it's more powerful. Exactly how much more powerful I don't know, because obviously we've not done any kind of dyno time on this bike at all at any point in time, but from a ride of the seat of the pants kind of dyno effect, I would say it's a bit more powerful. So yes, that, and also what else does it do? It also takes off the top speed limiter. So I think it's like 189, isn't it? Most bikes are limited to, or 186, sorry. So that is gone. So now we can go flat out. God knows what this bike is capable of now. I've changed the gearing slightly, and I geared it more for acceleration rather than top speed, because I can't really see me going 200 mile an hour. So yeah, and to be honest, it's still probably going to do 190 with the gearing that it's got now. So yeah, but it just gives it that little bit more kind of it lives in the power range a bit more with this kind of gearing. I can't think what the gearing is that I've changed at the moment, what it's set at the moment, but I think it's just a little bit more happier at these revs, or I'm happier at these revs anyway. The bike just feels that bit more alive, and you don't have to maybe well, you certainly don't have to work this engine to get it going. At no point, you know, from tick over through to red line, this bike just pulls. So yes, so initial impressions of this bike, I would say it's running smoother. It's not, I'm not getting as much kind of poppy cracky bang bang as I was before. So I guess the bike is definitely running smoother, and from the quick sample I had this morning on the way into work, it is accelerating extremely hard and powerfully. I mean, it's an extremely powerful motorcycle anyway, and to be able to compare is quite difficult, I feel, apart from actually jumping on a dyno. And when I've been riding the Punisher so much, yeah, that I kind of, you know, I keep it semi-sensible really on the Punisher. So jumping on this certainly does feel quick. Yeah, it feels very rapid, but I can't really hand on heart say that that is because I fitted the TRE modification, but it's definitely smoother. And this bike just howls. It just really howls. It just takes off like no one's business. And I think there is more power. I just feel there's more power, and I maybe have to work it that little less harder than I did before. And like I said, I didn't have to work it that harder beforehand, but yeah, it just seems more powerful, I guess. So the only real way you're really going to get to the bottom of it is to dyno it before and after. One of the byproducts of fitting this one is a cheaper one, and with that you lose the gear indicator. So it's no longer showing what gear I'm in apart from 5th gear, which is basically fooling. It is fooling. It's fooling. It's fooling. It's making a fool of the ECU and telling it that it's constantly in 5th gear and delivering full power at all times. Because there are other kits you can buy which you can fit, and the gear indicator will work normally, and it will bypass the whole kind of that part of the system and still tell the ECU that it's in 5th, but it will show you the normal gear that you are in, or the actual gear that you are in, instead of just saying you're in 5th all the time, you know. But this is a cheaper one. Some of the others I was looking at were around £100, which have that facility, and this one was £30 to £40. I guess I've gone for a cheaper option because I'm not 100% sure what I want to do with this bike, and I wanted to sample this bike with this modification without spending the full amount. So yeah, do I recommend it? Yes, I do. It's definitely, the bike feels much smoother. There's definitely, I would say, to be honest, the way I feel, I think there's more power. It's more available, it's easier to access. But I'll be honest with you guys, this bike is just not a hard bike to find where the power is it? You know, it's not difficult. Real tram lines in this road here. That's disgusting. I hate stuff like that. Sorry road users, but my tyres got caught in a bit of a rut and it's doing it again. Let's get out of that stuff. Yeah, so there you go. But anyway, that is enough of that. Let's see if we can find a bit of road and that's not kind of full with traffic, and give old Bertha a little handful and show you what I'm talking about. I mean, you get no impression at all, do you? But this bike is just not a slow bike. To be honest with you guys, you could leave it completely alone, leave the gearing alone, leave the timing alone, and just ride it, and it's just all the bike that you're ever going to need, to be honest. I mean, it's just silly powerful anyway. In standard spec. But why would you do that? Why not as well, you know? Don't get me wrong, I like to mess around with my bikes, but this bike really is a handful in standard trim. So yeah, it's just all good fun, guys. It's all good flipping fun. So anyway, I'm going to shut up and I'm going to find hopefully a stretch that I can just give it a bit more, and yeah, have a little bit more fun on Bertha. But it's so good to get out. It's so good to get out on the Hayabusa. I mean, just this bike is just such an amazing bike. It really is. Thought he was going to pull across then on me. Yes, I've been really enjoying myself on the Punisher. When I ride it, I just feel like I don't want to ride any other bike. But I must admit, I do get on this Hayabusa, and it does tick some very bad boxes. But that's what this bike's about. It's not really. Well, it's actually, this bike can do. It is, as you know, a can do everything bike. But it does do some things extremely well. And covering distance at speed is one of them. But I don't think I'm going to get much of an opportunity this evening, because it's just too busy. I mean, I think really, in all honesty, this bike, what has it got? It's got like a full race Akrapovic system on it. It's got, what did I put on it? A race K&N air filter. It's now got the timing retard eliminator, so it's de-restricted. I think what really this bike needs is a full dyno setup. It's got a power commander on it as well, with a map which is set up for exhaust system and high flow air filter, but you know, it's only gonna really tune it to, I mean, it'll do a good job. It'll certainly keep the fueling in a healthy ratio. I very much doubt it's running lean, which is more of an important thing that you have to consider. So we're not going to get the engine too hot or doing any engine damage, but it could probably really do with a proper tune-up, a rolling road session, and really kind of getting it kind of running on song. There's other things I know you can do. You can remove the secondary throttle body plates, the secondary plate. Those could be removed and give a little bit more oomph again. But I have had the Gen 1 original first Hayabusa, and that was quite choppy with those kinds of mods, although I'm not really sure if it did have any dyno time. But yeah, you know, I love having a bike which is really kind of running as it should. But having all the bikes that I've got, it becomes more of a, what should I spend on what bike? And I've spent quite a lot on this bike, but it would be nice to see it and feel it kind of running absolutely spot on. And I guess out of all the bikes, I love the 916. It still could stay. I love the Hayabusa. It could stay. I love the Punisher. That is absolutely staying. But yeah, Hayabusa, it does really, I love the look of it. I love the way it feels, and yeah, I do. It does really actually tick quite a few boxes for me. So I could be tempted to keep hold of the Hayabusa and the Punisher, but I need to get that 916 MOT'd and out on the road and in use, and make some kind of final decisions on it all. Yeah, so we'll get there. So that's where I am with it at the moment. I'm in no hurry to make a decision, but I would love a little bit of fast road just to open up Old Bertha, but look at the traffic, it's just not happening. I would like to come out on the weekend and do a proper video for this, and find some better open roads, but let's go. Yeah, but the weather's looking rubbish all weekend. Rain forecast all weekend, which is just pants. So I don't know if I'm going to get much of an opportunity. Just like I'm not going to get much of an opportunity to wrap open the throttle. It's just not really happening, guys. It's not really happening, is it? this bike is bloody quick, and it's surprisingly nimble. This bike is a real surprising package. It's just not what you think it is. It really is, and hence it's held my attention for as long as it has, and it's still in the garage. Yeah, it's an amazing bike. I do love it. I think I'll always have a special place for the Hayabusa. I was looking at turbo kits for Hayabusas the other day, but like if you want anything with any half sensible amount of kind of extra power, it's about 4 or 5 grand more, or should I say 4 or 5 grand to have that done. I think that was with something like Big CC Racing, which would probably is where I would go if I was to spend any money. Can I justify spending that amount of money? No. Have I got that amount of money? No. Could I spend that amount of money? Yeah, I could. I really could, but I'm not going to. I'm going to try and stay a bit sensible. I'm a bit concerned that things may not remain the way they are at the moment with all this lockdown and furlough and stuff. I do worry that Taffy could end up being furloughed again if they end up putting us into another lockdown. So I'm trying to be mindful of that. So powerful, guys. It's so flipping powerful, this bike. Really is. Can't get it across to you. I'm being super smooth with everything, but if you give it just some, it just wants to go, this bike. It really is a very powerful bike. And are you going to pull straight across me? No, you're going to pull out and sit there. And it's giving some pops and bangs as I de-accelerate, and there's a good reason not to go fast. It's a Mr. Officer evening. Always law-abiding I am, and never any tomfoolery. Good evening, sir. It's just my luck. It's just my luck, you know. I have one of these steady rides, you know, and I'm super sensible, and then that moment I'm like, okay, yeah, here is the opportunity, go, and then there's a police officer, like, you know. So yeah, that's generally how it works for me. But yeah, I love this bike. I do love this bike. It was absolutely superb. When I took it up to Donington Park and did the Confidence Day with Bennett's, it was just so good. It really was, guys. It was just so flipping good. I mean, this bike is just 0 to illegal in a blink. Okay. It's just so angry. It's just so flippin' angry, this engine. And I love it. It's thirsty as well, apart from angry. Thank you. Yeah, I've been sorting out a bit of an issue, something I should have done a long time ago. I fit all these carbon fibre panels, and these little infill panels have been vibrating and rubbing against the petrol tank. Thankfully, I kind of took off or raised the tank for fitting the flipping timing de-restrictor, and yeah, I kind of started sanding down them a bit to kind of give less vibration, which has worked, but it still needs just a little bit more work. But bloody love this bike. It's bloody great fun. Bloody great big fun it is. The only other thing I get tempted to do is to change the end can and put something on a bit louder, but it's almost nice having that kind of more quieter exhaust. I mean, it's a big old exhaust. It's something like 65mm the diameter of the bore of this exhaust, so it's going to be flipping loud, so it does need something to really quieten it down. But anyway, I've talked enough rubbish. So my overall first impression of this bike with the TRE system fitted is that it's bloody rapid and it's smoother, and I think it is an improvement, but my thoughts are to possibly remove the secondary plates and get a dyno, but we'll see about that. Anyway, I'm going to go. Lots of love to you all, and I will see you soon. Bye bye.